All right, testing, testing. We are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron. I work on the growth team over here at Linea. Spent some time across various products over at Consensus and really focus on DeFi, the ecosystem, as well as some other things. And today we're super excited. We're going to talk about some of my favorite topics personally, which are all things lending. And we're joined by ZeroLend, one of our top protocols over here on Linea. So I'm going to have Riker come on here and we'll do a little bit of introductions. We'll talk about Riker, a little bit on his background, ZeroLend, and then we'll jump into the actual protocol. And so let me pull in Riker.
Hey Cameron,
Hey, dude, what's going on, man? What's the latest and greatest?
good. How are you? All good from our side.
Awesome, awesome, man. Well, listen. I'll tell you what. We have 500 plus on here. We have various Linea communities coming to join us, various users, and so it should be a good space. I think we'll talk for about 30 minutes or so. If we go over a little bit, it shouldn't be too big of a problem, and we'll see how many good things we can cover.
That's amazing. I see a lot of frogs in the chat, which is so cool because we just love the frogs. We love the linear frogs. So yeah,
Oh, dude, that it's so right, man. The e frogs, right? They are they croaking? Wait, let me see. Let me see.
croaking. They're croaking in
Yeah,
your
that
now.
that's right, man. Well, dude, I'll tell you what. Let's kick it off with give us a little bit about you. A little bit about your background and kind of how you fell into Zeroland.
Yeah. So hey guys, my name is Riker. Well, actually, Riker is my DeFi name. So my real name is Steven. I've been in DeFi for about 4 to 5 years. I've been building a lot of stuff in the last 4 or 5 years. And my first project was MahaDAO. It was a stablecoin project. It's still going on today. And we started that in 2020, which was just at the beginning of the bull run. So yeah, we are. So I've been building a lot of stuff for about 4 to 5 years. I'm a builder. I'm a computer scientist. I'm a math nerd. Um, and we just want to build cool stuff. That's really what we're super excited about. And there's a lot of eFrog holders, NFT holders in the chat. ZeroLend is also one of the largest holders of eFrogs. We just bought a shit ton of them recently because we're super bullish on the community of Linea, the community of eFrogs, the ecosystem that's being built. And we're going to be building a lot of lending with uh, lending pools on Linea, and even NFT lending is something we're super bullish and excited about. So yeah, that's a bit of my summary. I'm a computer scientist with a math background. Been in DeFi for 4 to 5 years. We're super excited to unlock liquidity with lending, and I think DeFi Linea is going to be our home for a while. And so that's really it, Cameron.
Dude, love that. I absolutely love that. For all of us listening, I heard a little bit of alpha. Okay. Our guys here like NFTs and lending. So it looks like we're going to have to keep our eyes out for some developments here in the future. Um, so I'll tell you what, man, tell us a little bit about ZeroLend. About the protocol, some of its advantages, its value proposition. Give us a little background.
Right. So ZeroLend is a money market, right? And so the core problem we want to solve is unlocking liquidity, right? So anyone that wants or has an asset, right? Anyone that has an asset and wants liquidity, we want to unlock that, right? So what do I mean by unlock? These can be things that are liquid assets like Bitcoin or ETH that you want to take a loan against, but it can also be illiquid assets like treasury bill, well, not treasury bills, but NFTs, right, or real world assets, right? People all over the world are looking constantly for liquidity for their assets, right? So we get super excited to do things like that, where we can allow people to take loans against their illiquid collateral. And that's what ZeroLend is all about. So ZeroLend is a lending market. We started out probably in July of last year with on ZK Sync, but we quickly grew to multiple chains, and I'm super excited to share that Linea is our home where the governance and everything is now running live for ZeroLend on Linea. And Linea has also been our biggest and our fastest growing lending market for ZeroLend.
Wow.
And I'm super excited to be, yeah, unlocking more liquidity for assets, even the NFTs as well. The eFrog guys can also see some liquidity coming in from ZeroLand as well. That's in the roadmap. But yeah, this is sort of the gist of ZeroLand, what it is, and what I think it could be in the future.
Dude, it's absolutely amazing. And I'll be honest, Riker, even from my side, I've used ZeroLend on multiple chains. And so I use it the most on Linea, obviously. But I think one of the special things with ZeroLend is your ability to quickly move to these new and adjacent chains, providing that same user experience, right, for the users coming and doing lending. Really quick for everybody listening, I just want to give a quick LE5 on on kind of how lending works in crypto in case we're not familiar. This it's what we call over collateralized lending here in crypto. And so it's not really like you're going out and taking out a car loan or a mortgage, but rather it's all about asset exposure, right? So if you noticed one thing Riker said here, he said it's about taking those assets that might not be as liquid and creating a liquid market for them, right? And so a great example is you're able to come with LRTs or liquid restaking tokens or LSTs, and if you supply $1,000 worth, potentially you can then go take out $700 worth of USDC, right, or Ethereum, and then you're able to go and use that out in the ecosystem. So it provides some really unique DeFi strategies for users and for protocols. Um, so Riker, I don't know if you have if do you have any stats on hand on ZeroLend around collateral, TVL, cross chain on Linea? If you have any cool stats, we would love to hear them.
Yeah, so Linea has been our fastest growing market, right? At the moment, it's sitting at about $85 million on Linea alone. I think in total we are at 160, 150, 160 million in assets in the protocol, and borrowed is about 100 million or so. Some pretty crazy numbers on that, right? And we don't charge a lot of interest fees. A lot of the interest fees we charge go back to the people that supply as of today. So yeah, as of now, we're sitting at over 150 million, a book size of over 150 million, um, and this is all less than a year of growth. And yes, as you mentioned, Cameron, we are able to move pretty quickly. We're able to list
Yeah,
assets very quickly, but do it in a safe way, which is not too degen like some of the other lending protocols out there. So that's really one of the things that we do. And we also have a very big focus on the community. So, of course, eFrogs, we're one of the largest holders of eFrogs. The reason why we're the largest holders is because we intend to
yeah,
do a lot of value add to that community. Even the ZeroLend community, like our holders, we give a lot back to them in terms of
yeah,
staking rewards, in terms of airdrops, right? Whatever. So we do a lot for the people because in my 4 years in building in crypto, I realized that if you don't build things that involve the people or are for the community, things don't really work out, right? So yeah, that's essentially our motto. And yeah, and some numbers again, we have about, I think, 40,000 holders since the last 1 week of our token going live on Linea. We
awesome.
have 10,000 stakers, which is crazy, in less than 4 days. We have about 10%, 11% of our circulating supply staked for like 1.5 years. It's a huge amount of supply being locked. And just to reference, Cam, like Aave today has
Yeah,
about 18%, and we're at 11% supply staked. So we're pretty close. Like we're
Very cool.
gonna give the other guys some hard time, pretty
Yeah.
soon. Um,
And and and
that's really
and
cool.
dude, while I mean, like, while you're on that topic, like, one of the awesome things about watching ZeroLend grow is just how early it is, right? And so, like, the fundamental aspect that I think is just so wonderful that you guys are doing here is, like, um, interacting and engaging with the community, right? Educating on lending markets and having one of the deepest, sets of liquidity and TVL for people to actually come and use the lending market, right? And the liquid market. So I do want to save it a little bit. We're going to talk about some basic strategies or some upcoming strategies that maybe users can actually leverage um, in the surge. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I heard you mention a few things about tokens, right? And so really quick, the zero token. Did I see it? It's what we call an OFT token.
Yeah,
Is it
it's an OFT standard, which means in technical terms, it can be bridged to other chains using layer zero, which is our bridge that we're using right now.
cool?
But in a sense, the home is Linea. So when
Cool.
we launched ZeroLend token this Monday, which is 5 days ago, 4 days ago, right? We forced about 8 different exchanges who were super excited to be listing ZeroLend. We forced them to open deposits and withdrawals for ZeroLend token on Linea. So we got these exchanges on Linea, getting them to trade the ZeroLend token. And at the same time, we got a lot of users from other blockchains onto the Linea ecosystem. And yeah, that's essentially the token, what we've done with it and how it's designed.
I love that because it's very forward thinking, right? Having that token, that kind of interoperability. For everybody, when Riker says the hub, right, or when he says the core chain, he's talking about all this different kinds of activity, and so lending markets are particularly interesting in crypto for everybody listening because it it requires some level of governance or management. There's very interesting things like risk parameters, potentially new chain deployments, and so governance could be very active um, within lending markets. And again, for those of us who may not be familiar, when we say governance, we're talking about token governance, right? So your tokens you can actually go vote with and contribute to the open source protocol ZeroLend. Um, Riker, so I mean, man, I managed governance at Consensus for a year plus, right? So we were active all over the ecosystem, including lending markets. So this topic is just near and dear to my heart. I'd love to know what you think about governance and kind of how token holders can get involved now, but also looking into the future. What do you think that looks like?
Right. So I think one of the major things about a token is how does it accrue value and what kind of use case does it have? And a lot of times you find DeFi protocols say, hey, governance is the biggest use case for our token. And what you find is a lot of times governance is very centralized. It's often a few people, that really hold the most amount of tokens and voting power. And so what you think is supposed to be decentralized is not actually decentralized because a few people end up controlling the entire protocol. Um, and so when we designed ZeroLend, we wanted to figure out a way where we give a lot of value to token holders from a governance perspective, but at the same time, we don't have like politicians or people with too much control or power to, sort of, make the protocol their own. Not even myself, not even should I be able to control the protocol 100%, right? So in ZeroLand, our perspective is to do governance, but avoid the politics. Like take the politics out of governance, allow token holders to do voting and things like that, but don't involve politics and keep it as apolitical as possible. So we don't really want to do as much as governance proposals. the token holders would vote on security mostly, but immediate use case is emission voting, which is very similar to curve finance or
Yep.
Solidly or Aerodrome, Velodrome, all of these V tokenomics, where token holders can vote on where emissions and rewards go, right? So there is use
Exactly.
case for token holders right away, like they can vote on emissions, but the politics is less. You can't really, you don't have like the governance wars that happen in some
Yeah.
other forums like Aave, Compound. It's pretty much apolitical and decentralized. And I have there's a saying that says the best kind of governance is the one that is the least, and we believe in that as well. So that's really what it is.
I totally back that. Again, for everybody listening, it's something we call governance minimalism as well, right? And so, um, and dude, actually, it's pretty amazing that token holders, right off the bat, some of those initial governance powers are around emissions, right? It's really meaningful for token holders to go in, try to discover how to and think about participating, and so um, yeah, man, I'm even for me, I look forward to kind of jumping in there and seeing what it looks like and how to contribute.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna go live. Is the token voting bit
yeah.
cam is gonna go live pretty soon, right? And so we're
Okay,
just building
cool.
that out. But yeah, right now people are staking, staking ZeroLend tokens. The other amazing thing, Cam, I forgot to mention is
Yeah.
we kind of have a very passive airdrop strategy kind of going on. That whatever airdrops or whatever token grants ZeroLend gets, we kind of forward it back to our stakers. So if you are a person that's staking ZeroLend tokens, you get like a Pith airdrop or a Linea airdrop if that comes in, right? So we share a lot of the airdrops and points back to our stakers, which is a great way for us to just keep giving them value without
Yeah.
having to cause too much sell pressure on the token. So yeah,
I love that, man. Again, right? Again, like community first, right? Really
yeah,
thinking not
100%.
only how do we engage, but how do we pass that value back too? Um, so actually, I mean, while you're talking about that, the staking mechanism in ZeroLand, can you give us a little rundown on that? I know you said you had about 10+% staking. What do users get when they stake, or kind of how does that mechanism work high level?
Right. So when users stake the ZeroLend token, they get to choose how long they want to stake. So you can choose anywhere from 2 weeks all the way up to 4 years. And 4 years might seem like retirement for most people in crypto, you know. But basically, the longer you stake, the more rewards and the more weight or the more power you get in the protocol, right? And this means bigger rewards, bigger airdrops, bigger voting power in different things, right? And so, yeah, as of today, we just announced that we are going to be distributing like our Pith airdrop. So Zeroland got a Pith airdrop back in the month of November, December, I believe. It was some 500,000 tokens.
Yeah.
And we're going to give like 80-90% of that back to people that stake, the Zeroland token. So that's fantastic. And yeah, some of the numbers, before even announcing this, we had like 10% of supply staked. We have over 10,000 stakers, which is amazing. A lot of it, I think we're one of the largest DAOs on Linea today, and we just want to give as much as we can to the community and keep adding value, really. So that's just the growth so far, and it's going to keep growing. That's for sure. So yeah.
Dude, we can definitely croak to that. From my side, from Linea's side, the community side. We're super excited to see ZeroLend grow into the future. And so I I want to be cautious of time. I know we have roughly about 10 minutes. Um, I want to chat really quick on some simple, strategies. And so, really quick, Riker, we have coming up an activation called the Surge, and it's just all about liquidity, and it's really driving home that as we begin to decentralize the network, right, we want to ensure that dApps are useful and apps are useful, and users can come and make trades, and loans and lending and have things to do. And so it's a very critical aspect of not only growth but really it's a fundamental a fundamental, pardon me, aspect of decentralizing. And so um, users will come for the surge and interact with protocols. What are some of the things that they can do on ZeroLend? I know you guys are pretty heavy into restaking, liquid restaking tokens, but give us an LE5 here and some strategies.
Right. So there are quite a few things, Scam, that we can look at. First off, you're good on time. You can do as long as you want. Don't worry about
Okay,
the
cool, cool.
time on my front. Yeah. And so essentially, users can come in with different assets, especially LRTs, which is brilliant because a lot of the LRTs have partnership collaborations with ZeroLend. For example, in Renzo, if you come in with your Renzo ETH, you get boosted points for simply supplying the Renzo ETH onto ZeroLand, right? Then we have another layer of points, which is with a partnership with Total Club that gives you total points. Then, of course, you have zero land emissions, and then pretty soon LXP points as well, right? So with ZeroLend, you can be pretty passive, where you just put in your assets into ZeroLend for depositing into it, or you can be a bit more aggressive and a bit more degen, where you kind of take loans or and use that to leverage your position on certain assets. Like, let's say you take Renzo, you borrow ETH, you sell your ETH for more Renzo, and you leverage up on Renzo yields and points and whatever, right? So you can do all of this leverage stuff. And the good thing is that we have a risk manager called as Chaos Labs that is constantly monitoring our entire market. And thanks to Linea, we also have Into the Block as well, that's also monitoring ZeroLand. So we have two risk managers that are monitoring the
Yeah,
markets continuously, and we're paying like more than like, I think this year we're spending more than $1 million in risk management and audit. So we're spending a lot of money to make sure we create something safe on Linea. So yeah, bro. I mean, this is essentially
amazing. Yeah.
what you can do, what we're doing to make sure users are safe, and we're super excited to see things kick up turbo, and that's really it.
That's right, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. The I mean Chaos Labs, the risk manager, they are just renowned, top, one of the top in our space. And so it's really, really impressive that ZeroLend kind of has that focus of security. It really aligns a lot with how Linea is looking to grow, right? And that is, to ensure that we have as much focus on security as we can from a contract level, from a risk perspective, and so forth. Some of those strategies that you mentioned, some of my favorite things to do. I mean, especially back in the day, man. I mean, people forget when like I don't know if you were around for this, Riker, but like the compound loop, right? It was like a pretty
Uh,
popular trade back in the day. That's like one of my favorite things to do in lending markets. This is not financial advice. Everybody be careful and safe and responsible. But um, I think that's something that's really special at ZeroLend is because it is so liquid, right? It's very easy to do what we call loops, right? And really look and say, hey, how do I leverage up? So when Riker here is talking about leveraging up, what he's saying is, you can go supply in LRT, take out a loan, go acquire more LRTs, supply that, and then take out another loan, right? And that's a simple example of like a very easy or fundamental loop. Um, it's really interesting to see how these play out, and especially coming up into the surge as one of the most liquid lending markets. Hopefully, we see a lot of really fun activity. From these things. What now? Hey, what are some of the top assets that you guys see users trading on ZeroLend?
So, as of today, right, there's a lot of focus on LRTs. So, LRTs meaning these new asset class that just came up in the month of Jan itself. So, Renzo, EtherFi, Kelpidao, these are LRTs that let you earn a yield on the eigenlayer, AVSs, and that whole complex mesh, right? So these are the top assets. We've seen a lot of interest with LRTs. We want to do stuff beyond LRTs that as well. So we want to look into LRT lending pretty soon. So the frogs are going to get
Cool.
some love and liquidity from ZeroLend pretty soon. Also, meme coins, we're building a ZeroLend V2 that is in the works. So this is early alpha for you, Cam. But essentially, we're building a ZeroLend V2 that has isolated markets that lets us even list meme coins like Foxy. I know you have like a fox, on the back of your whiteboard over there. So yeah, so we want to do isolated markets to allow users to do a bit more than usual. What else? I mean, yeah, as of today and tomorrow, it's going to be LRTs, but in the future, we want to unlock liquidity for NFTs, and meme coins, right? Other kinds of assets that kind of come up in this space, right? So that's really what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. And that's a huge narrative and talking point amongst lending markets. And so it just it gets me so excited that you guys are also kind of thinking about that and moving towards that actively. And this is these isolated and permissionless markets. And so if I had to simply explain this, what I would really say is that right now the markets on on lending markets are kind of overseen by a DAO, right, or voted on, and they have risk parameters and so forth. So although it's decentralized, right, there's a little bit of decision making that comes from a central body, right, or a concentrated body, we'll say. Um, what Riker's talking about here is the ability for, almost anybody, right? Probably with certain criteria, and that still has to be worked out, but anybody to create a market, right? And then kind of push that. And so, when we talk about NFT lending or meme coin lending or LRTs, right? There's no dependency on the lending market to actually go out and set these up. And uh, you know, in this scenario, right, the lending markets really almost act as infrastructure, right? And so people can come and do these. I Those are some of my favorite markets to go and look at because there's just so much diversity in assets. And so it unlocks so much.
Yeah, so I mean, I think what we're building right now, so we built on Linea. I think we're able to add a 10x value in the lending space when we came onto Linea. We're building ZeroLend V2. We're investing heavily into our upcoming V2. I think the upcoming V2 is something that the space has not seen. So that should be a 40-50x improvement to the lending space. But at the same time, we're building a better interface. So that should be, I think, a 10x improvement in the lending space in what we're offering right now. We're looking to list more assets to NFTs and whatnot. So that should be another 10x
Amazing.
improvement into the lending space. So yeah, we're working to do different things. Um, that's really most of the things, Cam, that we are working on. So yeah.
Dude, I love that. I heard two 10x improvements. That means 100x. And
Okay,
I'm
you should
always
add
down for a good
that.
100x, brother. I'm always down. That's exactly where we're going. Um, well, yeah, dude. I mean, look, I'll tell you what. We are, we are right on time here for everybody. We covered so much here, right? We got a little bit of Riker's background. We highlighted a little bit about ZeroLend, some of those value propositions. And if I had to summarize those value propositions, it would be community driven, right? Community first, and then innovation in the lending space. And I think that lends itself to, the not only the growth of protocols or lending markets, but the prosperity in there, right? And really caring and trying to share that value with your token holders is just shout out, man. Seriously. It's really cool to see.
Amazing, thanks. I mean, obviously, Cam, ZeroLand is invested into the ecosystem. So that means that we have, as I mentioned to you, like we have bought 35 frogs. We're the largest holders of frogs, and that's a representation of the Linea ecosystem, right? Like I see a lot of Linea team
Exactly.
members, having a frog in their profile. So, and at the same time, we want to do a lot of value add to the ecosystem. I'm super excited to eventually share with you, Cam, and the ecosystem, ZeroLend V2, because ZeroLend V2 should be something the space has not seen before. Again, we're spending another $1 million in audits and whatever, but it is innovation, and we want to bring it to Linea first, ideally. Um, but yeah, bro, that's most of the things, and super excited and grateful to be here.
Awesome, dude. Really. And I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to, once the surge starts up, we'll have to have another one of these, and maybe we'll pull up the screen and we'll go through some of those strategies. Um, but yeah, dude, listen, thank you so much for joining us here. Um, I'm going to uh I'm going to just kind of close us out lightly. And until next time, Riker, we'll speak soon.
Amazing. Thank you, Cam, for your time.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Take care.
All right, everyone. That was an awesome talk. Riker is just, fundamentally a great dev. They're just a wonderful protocol, and we're super excited to have them here on Linea. Some things to keep your eyes out for across the Linea ecosystem is announcements around the surge. Definitely get in there, interact with some communities, check out that vibrant ecosystem, right? So we have hundreds of dApps, all growing by the day, right? Communities forming left and right. It's all about getting involved and exploring those communities. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.